Because he's been harassing her for years.
Real life. It ain't real life.
It ain't real life. Just say real life street stars. You know what time it is.
What are your thoughts on Janet Jackson?
What up,
That's
gamer?
a hard one. I love Janet. And I also know that Janet came up in a time where she was trying to find her own independence and trying to find her own voice. And she wasn't going to let her daddy do to her what he did to her brother Michael. Janet is strong, she's smart, she's fierce, and she's loyal. She's a Taurus. You know, her birthday's May 19th. She's a Taurus. But the fact that her bisexuality is still being hidden, the fact that the real reason behind her relationship with Jermaine Dupri is still so elusive. You know, why she left Jermaine Dupri to marry
a billionaire?
That billionaire and to have a baby and then get divorced and then be seen with Jermaine Dupri again. Kind of like Ashton Kutcher leaving Mila Kunis and then going off with Demi Moore and then coming back to Mila Kunis. You know, there's a lot of entrapment relationships. There's a lot of setup relationships. There's a lot of stuff.
And let me ask this, because we live in a world of truth now. And
but
I know.
Meanwhile, when she married that billionaire, all of that was going on when Diddy was harassing her.
Oh.
Because he's been harassing her.
Oh, shit.
For years.
Janet? Yeah. Damn,
and they won't talk about it.
I can see him.
So when I hear Orlando bringing up the Janet Jackson thing and saying it in his little code word, I know what that means. I know what he's saying. But the truth is Janet is under heavy scrutiny. She did what she had to do to survive. She's strong. It's just that Jackson family stigma.
And rest in peace, Tito Jackson. But Janet just did an interview saying that in good times, because she was a little more developed as a child, they were questioning of even keeping her on the Good Time show as far as her, she was
developing fast.
Yeah, they were developing fast. And it comes to Hollywood. What does that say to, again, we see the Weinstein stories, we see these stories, but what does that say to a Hollywood producer who says, oh, she's developing fast? Well, how can we mitigate it? How can we stop it? And this is back in, Good Times is, rest in peace, John Amos. I
hope he can.
Damn.
I hope he can rest in peace.
Damn. What?
I hope.
This is John Amos. This is good.
I hope he can. Like, listen to me. That whole situation with his death is weird.
It's very weird.
It's weird. And I'm sick and tired of people chalking elderly people dying unexpectedly up to, oh, well, he was old. He lived a long way. Old people are supposed to die. Yeah, when it's their time. We ain't talking about when people are making it people's time, like with Clarence Avon.
Yeah.
Viable human beings, thriving human beings, regardless of what age they are. John Amos was doing fine, and then there was some arguments in his family. I don't know, bro.
Yeah, no, the fact that his daughter said, I found out when y'all found out. On social
because
media.
the other son was over there doing some other stuff, and then the one son was...
It brings up questions. That's all it does. It brings up, to say he passed in August and via October is when it's TMZ or when it's reported.
And he died in August. He been dead all this time. Sounds a lot like my old manager, Richard Nichols, who they said was already dead but didn't die for a few weeks. Sounds like the numbers didn't add up and they just needed to hold it. It's weird.
There was another unexpected passing that I just found out about the other day, that Angelo passed.
Yeah.
He was on the couch.
Yeah.
Great guy, very informative.
Yeah.
Do you know, is there any details about that, or how did that make you feel?
There will be none.
Oh.
I wish I could tell everyone what happened to my friend. But the family's not talking about it, and I'm not going to talk about it. They didn't feel the need to release his cause of death. And I'm going to respect that. But what I will say is when he passed away, there was $250,000 on my head and $150,000 on his.
Wow.
That's all I can say.
Real life.
It ain't real life.
Jason Lee's story. Okay, allegedly Jason Lee from Hollywood Unlocked is calling out Jay-Z and Beyonce. All right, saying that saying a lot. Saying a lot. Apparently Jay-Z's team, allegedly, or people affiliated with Jay-Z, have been reaching out to Jason Lee, and I'm assuming trying to intimidate him. I don't know. But we're going to pull it up and get into it. Now listen, before we get into it, okay? Before we get into it, I need y'all to put in chat, do y'all believe Jason Lee or no, as you listen to this? And we're going to just do the audio, and then we'll pull up the visual when I pause it. So let's hit the sound via TikTok. Let's go.
I am going to save this conversation for Jay-Z. Jay-Z, you're watching. I know you're watching, but you got people calling me. Stop having people call me. You can call me yourself. You know how to get my number. You know, you got people calling me. Call me yourself, because this right here is going to go viral. The way my job works on the internet, everybody's going to be clipping, sharing on TikTok. Watch this. Do your thing, TikTok. Jay-Z and Beyonce is going to see this. I am exhausted with people calling me about
what up,
Jay-Z
QC?
and Beyonce. You've never called for anything else, and I haven't even said anything about you yet. And yet I'm getting all these calls. I've gotten more calls over the weekend about Jay-Z and Beyonce. But I am going to save this conversation for Jay-Z.
Okay, let's stop right here. If y'all remember a while back, Jason Lee had did a video where he claimed to have had like a damaging receipts on Jay-Z and how it was going to affect Beyonce. All right. And Jason Lee kind of like dropped that he had it, but then didn't believe. Okay.
You're watching. I know you're watching.
Let me go to the next clip.
Why would I, Jason Lee, I'm getting calls, and I haven't even said anything.
No, it shouldn't have froze.
They ain't called me to go to the Rock Nation brunch.
Listen, if it froze, go out and come back in. I'm frozen. Hold up. Go out and come back in. Yeah, that's crazy. See, that stuff is real. That's all I'm gonna say is that stuff is real. Okay, get to it.
Brunch. They haven't called me to go to the gold party.
To accept being honored.
They haven't called me when we offered to honor Jay-Z at the award show. They didn't call me to go to the press conference about striking the deal with the NFL while we were kneeling for Kaepernick. They didn't call me to ask me what I thought about her hair care product. They didn't call me to offer a free bottle of her perfume. I didn't get to go backstage on her tour for the Renaissance. In fact, when the video circulated, making it look like I've been chasing her around like a super fan, which I am a super fan, but I chase nobody. Nobody's called me to clear that up. I haven't gotten a delivery of white flowers with a little card from Beyonce. Why is everybody calling me now?
Oh, and you also stopped.
That we not going to even go there. I stopped a major Major thing for Beyonce. Didn't even get a thank you.
But now everybody's
so why is everybody calling me now? Because I'm a firefighter. Because I run towards fires and I put them out or I fan the flames. But why is everybody calling me now? And that's the problem that I have with this whole situation. But I am going to save this conversation for Jay-Z. Jay-Z, you're watching. I know you're watching, but you got people calling me. Stop having people call me. You can call me yourself. You know how to get my number. You know, you got people calling me. Call me yourself, because this right here is going to go viral. The way my job works on the internet, everybody's going to be clipping, sharing on TikTok. Watch this. Be a thing, TikTok. Jay-Z and Beyonce is going to see this. I am exhausted with people calling me about Jay-Z and Beyonce. You've never called for anything else, and I haven't even said anything about you yet.
Okay.
And yet I'm getting all these calls. I've gotten more calls over the weekend about Jay-Z and Beyonce. You know, I think this is an opportunity to have a bridge and have a conversation about how this thing works, because I'm not a...
But why all of a sudden, and let me put the visual by talk, why all of a sudden is Jason Lee getting all these calls? I cannot help but think this is linked to Jaguar Wright getting on Piers Morgan, saying what she said. Hold on. I cannot help but think this is connected to Jaguar Wright getting on Piers Morgan, saying what she said. Rock Nation trying to put out that fire, and now they're trying to double back and maybe get Jason Lee to put out some good stuff about Jay-Z and Beyonce. I don't know. Who's to say he's telling the truth? That's a good point too. Who knows? It's all allegedly. It's all allegedly. Won't get back and play. Okay, come on.
Publicist. I am not I'm just Jason, okay? And I have opinions about Unlocking Hollywood. Remember I said at the top of the show, or somewhere in the show, that I was in love with the entertainment industry until I found out it was Jeffrey Dahmer. This is part of the gnawing at the wrist that the industry does. You know, black excellence, we don't show up for each other like we should. And then when the shit's about to hit the fan or some shit, you think I'm gonna go fan some shit, now you're showing up. You know, again, I'm not angry, I'm a little disappointed, because as much as I've loved this woman for years, I told you I don't like her as much as I used to. I still love her, but I'm not a super fan like I used to be. You know how much I was I mean, this woman, this is everything. And this together is everything. But is it? Now, Smokey the Bear is popping up. And I don't like forest fires. I do like the smell of wood, though. You know, I've burned some firewood.
Pause.
I think this is an opportunity to have a conversation, because I believe that we as a culture should be very supportive of each other before this stuff happens, so that way our proximity to it can help us tell the real story. You know, I don't know why do you think Jay-Z is reaching out?
I mean, number one, he's repeating himself a lot. Number two, is it just me, or is he also salty that he hasn't been invited to certain places by Jay-Z and Beyonce? You know what I'm saying? It's like he wants to be in that inner circle. Now, the last thing I remember is the Rock Nation brunch. Yep, and he was invited. He got, however he got in. And, yeah. So you ain't in the thick of it, but you were able to do it. Keep going. Amen. Thank you for all them super chats. So I really appreciate that. Yeah. Jag threw a curveball. But is it I'm feeling like he's a little salty, whether he admits it or not.
I think he does want to like put a lid on whatever could be brewing, but I don't know if that means he's guilty of something. I just think he's trying to put a lid on what could come out, because you have a big voice and you have a big platform.
I just feel like it's so...
The woman running Jay-Z's company used to traffic drugs. We know this. We know allegedly that Desiree was connected to the cartel or to the people who were killing people and selling drugs. Now, whether she was not or not, Jay-Z can choose whoever he wants to run his company. And I met her before, and she gave me permission to speak to the Don because that's what she was. The problem is, y'all are starting to realize that God is bigger than you. All the people y'all paying to intimidate people, not Jay-Z, but the industry, paying to intimidate people, threaten people, kill people, hanging them off the side of, y'all doing all this reckless ass shit as multimillionaire billionaires. You deserve all the downfalls that you get. And this is the glass that nobody thought would ever have a crack in it. Well, until we saw the video with Solange kicking you in the elevator. We don't know what that was about. Again, I don't even have free passes to the 40/40 club. Like,
And how you spent a lot of money on all the Renaissance.
but I did that because I never ever wanted to ask for anything free. Because Floyd Mayweather taught me a long time ago, don't ask nobody for nothing free because you don't want to be obligated to them. I pay for everything because I don't ever want people to say, why you say that? Don't say that. Nobody calls me and say, I say what I want to say.
Period.
Now, people call, somebody called me yesterday.
Shout out my boy QC making that bag.
Called me and said, Jason, don't talk about that Jay-Z thing because you know he's going to come and snatch your company. He's going to sue you. He's going to do this and that. I'm not afraid of Jay-Z. I'm not afraid of what he's going to do because I'm not out here to say lies about Jay-Z. I love Black excellence and I want to promote Black excellence, which is why we wanted to honor Jay-Z this year, didn't we? Mm-hmm. And we were told Jay-Z don't like the honor. Well, he took the honor from the Grammys and then he complained that she don't get the Grammys. And now the Country Music Association or awards, they're laughing at you with your Jolene. They want you to take your Jolene out of here because they don't believe that you should be singing country music, even though we created it and so. But still, it doesn't matter. That's why we got to be working together to tell our stories. But I will tell you to the audience, if I do come up missing,
yo, BJ
all
tripping.
the calls I've been getting, been about him. And
Chat, y'all want some
listen,
eggs, chat?
I haven't had any threatening calls. Nobody has said that they're going to hurt me, so I want to go on record for that. But there is a lot of why are you? They thought. Beyonce ain't never thought about me, and Jay-Z ain't never thought about me. If they did, they talked about it way up there at the castle that they live at, but they never told me anything. Why would I, Jason Lee, I'm getting calls, and I haven't even said anything.
All right. So let me stop there.
They ain't called me to go.
All right, let's stop there. So now that we've heard. Number one, I'm gonna say this. I do believe that Jason Lee has some incriminating evidence or some sort of damaging story about Jay-Z. I don't think it has nothing to do with Beyonce, but of course, because Beyonce is married to Jay-Z, she's just gonna catch a stray. I hear you, Lasserine. This feels like extortion, kind of is, kind of not. He playing on that fine line. Now, if they would have come on his show and give him an interview, I mean, all of this would magically go away. That I do believe. But they're not going to do that. All right, let me play any more clips. Let's see.
Why would I, Jason Lee, I'm getting called?
Okay, yeah, that's it. That was the thing of it. So, Righteous One said, Jason said a while ago it was Beyonce. Oh, okay. So now here we go. Let's say Jason Lee does put out whatever he has on Jay-Z. Let's say it's really damaging. And let's just say that it actually proves Jaguar to be right. Is y'all gonna give her an apology?
Not
BJ.
BJ.
Is Morgan gonna come and bring her back on and give her an apology for cutting out her segment? I'm just saying. Everybody not lying on them. There's something there. There's something our family's into. It's something. We might not know it, but it's something. Beyonce and Jay-Z are not innocent. People have to stop idolizing celebrities. I agree. Jaguars, listen, she been right time and time again. The video with Pimp C, that's what New York. Oh. Oh. You think it's the SEX tape, is what you're saying? The alleged, the rumor is, and this has been a rumor for years. Hold up. Let me go here. Let's see if we can find some old videos about that. Beyonce, Pimp C. Beyonce, Pimp C. Sex tape.
Then they went on hiatus for the.
There's always been rumblings, and there's always been suspicion. There's always been rumblings, and there's always been suspicion that Jay Prince was behind the fact that Pimp C is no longer here. Now, I've been told that Jay Prince was allegedly paid a lot of money to confiscate that tape away from Pimp C, but Beyonce and Jay-Z always felt a little wary about it. They always felt that Pimp C had a duplicate of the footage of him and Beyonce getting big. Now, another thing that was told to me that I find extremely interesting is the fact that when Pimpin' Ken said that he saw the footage of Pimp C and Beyonce, I've been told that there was no way that Pimpin' Ken should have saw that footage because the deal had already been made and Jay Prince had already got the tape from Pimp C. So how could Pimp C have footage if that was the only copy, right? And so ultimately, Pimp C reneged on his word. He didn't keep his promise. And so the question is that when he showed Pimpin' Ken this footage, did Pimpin' Ken tell everybody about this footage back then? Did Pimp C show it to other individuals? Then get back to Jay-Z and Beyonce that they saw this footage of Pimp C and Beyonce together. Now, even though it's been said that Jay Prince turned over the footage to Jay-Z, I told you guys in my last video that it's also been said that Jay Prince still has a copy of the footage of Pimp C and Beyonce. Which means that Jay Prince did the same thing that Pimp C allegedly did, and that was make another copy, right? So I don't know if Jay Prince is holding on to this copy to use it as leverage against Jay-Z and Beyonce for whatever reason, but it's evident that Jay Prince has definitely had a hand in keeping this footage alive. Now, let's pivot and go back to when I said that Jay-Z and Beyonce were always a little bit skeptical of the fact that Pimp C had another copy of the tape. Well, that same skepticism
All right.
between Jay-Z and his camp and Jay Prince and his people.
So I'm also even just trying to figure out why would Beyonce even allow Pimp C, allegedly, if this is true, to even put her on tape, unless she was under the influence of something. Right? Drunk, high, whatever. Instead, forget it. Now, this would have been back in the day. So, you know, this wasn't like the camera phones that we got now. This was like that fool had like a camcorder. You know, it wasn't like how today you can kind of sneak and hide some stuff. Like, nah, if you was taping somebody, you was taping somebody. I'm trying to figure it out. They had him cans. Yeah, but I think nah. Oh, Storm, she was underage. Oh. Or she didn't know the camera was on. That's even worse. If he did that and she didn't know that camera was on. Oof. Okay, hold on, let's keep.
Then they went on hiatus for the first half of the 2000s, and both members pursued solo careers. Unfortunately, in December 2007, on Jay-Z's birthday, Pimp C was found dead in his hotel room, with a coroner's report attributing his death to complications stemming from heavy consumption of lean and his pre-existing condition of sleep apnea. As for what exactly happened, Pimp C had been staying at the Mandarin Hotel in West Hollywood, California, where he had been working on new music and performing with Too Short. On the morning of December 4th, 2007, he was scheduled to fly back home, where his wife, Chinara, was waiting with his cousin Ed at the airport to pick him up. And after not hearing from him on the morning of the scheduled flight, his wife called the hotel and requested they check on him. Based on reports, the hotel staff discovered Pimp C unresponsive in his hotel room, where paramedics pronounced him dead dead shortly after. Now, according to DJ Paul of 3-6 Mafia, Pimp's manager Rick Martin described seeing Pimp's body laying down like he was praying, but there was blood around like he was hit. They thought he was probably hit in the head, but they didn't know what the hell happened because there was blood everywhere. Based on what DJ Paul said, Pimp was knelt down like he was praying, and the candles were all the way burnt down. So they knew he'd probably been dead for a day or so because he always lit those candles to sleep. And one thing that a lot of people said back in the day was that the death was a bit sus. Then add on.
I mean, yeah, if he was down like he was praying, yeah, they got him. Whoever they is, I don't know. But that was a hit. All these deaths sound very, very suspicious. There's an interview with his cousin on YouTube. Okay, hold on, go to YouTube and let that keep playing.
Add on to that the rumor that Pimp C had something going on with Beyonce that didn't quite sit well with Jay-Z. Baby, we all know how Jay-Z gets when somebody gets too close to his woman, right? I mean, we already had Bun B narrating how one time they were in the studio with Beyonce and Pimp C was there as well, and Jay-Z called the studio to find out who was there. And then when he was told that Beyonce was dressed in a spicy outfit, he demanded that all the men vacate the room.
The video comes out and everything, and of course I'm blowing the smoke at this bar. And I remember asking Hov about it. He's like, yeah, man, I'm not gonna have y'all looking at my girl like that. You know, that's it. He was like, I called. I was like, who's in there? What are they doing? And what she got?
So, what y'all think? Sounds suspicious. Sounds like there's a lot of skeletons in their closet. And yes, go toil. Miss Nikki MD said, hell, they sound like serial killers. Yeah, they do. Listen, where there's smoke, there's fire. Something to this. Do y'all want me to pull up the interview with Pimp C's cousin that he did on YouTube? I found this from 11 months ago. Do y'all want me to pull it up? All right, let's get to it. Let's go. I'm gonna put this on 1.25.
You're not tuned into something super tight. Puffing something sticky, nigga, arrow through the light. Need to hit something real.
And I'm gonna play a joke on him. And he poured something into his drink. And when he came back from the restroom, he started drinking it and almost immediately started throwing up blood. And what made me believe that, I packed C bags after he passed.
From that same hotel?
I pulled back the cover of the bed and there was blood in the bed. So that's what made me believe that story to be true.
Now, we talked about this prior to us cutting on the cameras. And I never talked about it outside of saying, buddy. You know what I'm saying? And this guy was from Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're not going to mention anybody that was around him that knew him in Jackson, Mississippi. We'll just concentrate on him.
Yeah.
And like you and I said, that you had heard the same thing, that he was going around bragging.
Yeah.
That he had done this.
Yeah.
What?
Yes, in the streets of Jackson.
And I heard it from someone who at one point really didn't know I was even affiliated with Pimp, but we were associated through a former organization I was with.
Yes.
And we just got to talking. He said, hey man, what's up with Buddy? And I was like, I've heard this and heard that. It's like, man, well, what you heard is true, because I'm from Jackson.
Yes.
And that's how that went.
And he said that he had heard the rumors of him going through, or he had witnessed them.
He had heard it. Yeah.
And there was nothing found.
That's what because my wife is a nurse now. You know, and she's gonna answer medical questions, and what she's asking is, were no traces of nothing found in the what do you call it, autopsy, or the what's that thing called when you toxicology report?
So no, and why? I think what messed it up, and I'm going to just say it like this.
Yes.
People did so much maneuvering around the autopsy to protect what was they might have thought was going to show up. So that kind of changed the outcome of what really came out.
All right, so let's stop right there. So this is Pimp C's cousin. Like you said, they're from Jackson, Mississippi. Now, the organization that Pimp C's cousin used to be a part of is the Freemasons. That's really also what this whole, because this is only 21 minutes of like, I think the full interview was like an hour and 30 minutes, maybe close to 2 hours. His cousin was a high-ranking Freemason. So that's now you see how it's all making sense? Now it's making sense. 33rd degree, yes. And then he renounced his cousin here, he renounced Freemasonry. All right, let me get back to it. Oh no, Clover said "On the Run" makes hella sense now. On the run. What you say? Long as I'm next to you, and when loving you was a crime. I hear sirens while we make love. I don't care if they come. Oh damn! They was selling on themselves.
Hey QC, how you know Buddy got killed? I never heard that before. Hey, put the chat on QC, or let me know a video I can go to that's gonna talk about that. What they talk about Buddy got murdered. I ain't know that.
Hold up. Wait a minute, cause I've been to the concert. I went to the Mrs. Carter World Tour, On the Run 1 and On the Run 2. I was at both of them. Hold up. Let's pull up the lyrics. Y'all know we pull up some lyrics. On the Run, Jay-Z and Beyonce. She can't leave him. They've done too much together. Remember now, what song was it where we're gonna pull up that video too in a minute? What song was it where Beyonce even said, "I changed my religion for you"? She literally gave everything to this man. Even in this song "On the Run," she even talked. No. Jay-Z talks about if you make it to heaven and I'm sent to hell, just come out, give me for her life. If you think about it, all of her dancing is very unhinged. Like, she dances like she gonna get her ass beat if she misses a step. That's literally how she dances. But then when you allow other spirits to come in you, like she said, Sasha Fierce takes over. And then she's able to, because I've seen her live, like she goes for hours, like she doesn't.
Hold on, chat. Hold on, chat. I want to find this video. I want to watch this video, chat. Hold on. Let's find this video, chat, that everybody talking about in the chat right now. Give me a second.
Today's special, please. You want peanut butter puffs with that?
Yes.
That's real.
And then you need to experience something else too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean, and like we used to say when I was living there, you had to come to the city.
That's it.
Come to the city.
The Texas Road, not the Roadhouse, the Cardamom.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And she was gonna ask some medical questions.
So later on, I tell Shannara, hey, he about to miss his flight, and he got PO today. He never missed PO. He'll miss anything but a PO.
Yeah.
And I said, look, they know you were there in the room with them. Call the hotel, ask them to go see make sure your husband is up. She did. Time went by. She got a call from the sheriff. And she dropped the call. We immediately knew something was wrong.
What you mean she dropped the call?
The call dropped from the
accidentally, like?
Well, the sheriff, I think so. The sheriff, she got a call and the call ID said Sheriff Department of LA or something like that. And she lost signal with him. So she called back, and that's when they said, "You need to get out here."
They didn't tell y'all what, or they said just come.
They didn't tell us what. We assumed, but this is what's crazy. Somebody called another guy from our team. Somebody else called Mike Mo. It's like, "Man, I heard your boy dead." But we hadn't got the official word.
That's so.
How would they know?
Exactly. So they calling people that knew C.
Yes.
That they had to connect with. I think, and this is something you can probably ask Munn too, because I think he got another call too.
Before the official word.
Before the official.
What day was that on? Was that on that Monday, or did y'all get it on that Tuesday?
On that day, on that Tuesday.
How long you think he was laying up in there, Edgar?
Oh, it was.
I talked to him Saturday.
I did too.
I talked to him. We were talking about the Scarface album.
Yeah.
We did back and forth, and then I was at a show, and I texted him that whole jamming, bro.
Yeah.
And that Scarface album was coming out on that Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that same day, because that was his release party.
Yes.
And when I talked to him, he had just left 3-6 Mafia House. And he had learned
DJ
a program or something on the computer.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, I'm about to step on their necks with this." And that's all we talked about. He was in good spirits. He was having fun.
Yes.
And so when I'll probably have to send you this picture too. C used to always get on me about burning candles and not putting them out while I go to sleep. And for that, I get on my wife as well.
Yeah.
I get paranoid about leaving a candle burning.
Yes.
So he always got on me about that. So when I packed his bags, the first thing I saw, two things I saw. The first thing was the candle had burned completely down.
I heard about this too.
The second thing, his bag was packed neatly. Did that sound like C?
No. No.
So that's the first two things that made me look like, nah, this ain't right.
So what's going to shock a lot of people is that no one ever knew that there was other people in the room. I mean, I'm gonna say some people did.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like.
Yeah, but you know, the masses, the majority of people don't know that. They think it was just him in there, and he just passed away.
Yeah.
It's tough, bro.
And for a long time, I faulted myself for not being there.
I was about to ask you because
he always, now that's a story too. We always had a joint.
What up, Arda?
I always had access to him.
Yeah.
And
what's up, gang?
I know this is gonna probably stir up some things, but I gotta say it because that's how I feel. I always thought it was something suspicious from day one. I had never told C I had to work, so apparently his wife told him, okay, rewind. Mama was like, "I thought you had to work. This is why they was already gone." Like, nah, where you get that from? Well, Shanara told C you had to work, so you couldn't go on the trip.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
So by her telling him I couldn't go, stopped me from going. If that would have never happened, I would have been out there. Second thing, what was odd to me, he wanted a car service to drop him to the airport, drop him and her to the airport. So she wanted to drive the Bentley, leave it at the airport. Big argument was, who want to leave a Bentley at the airport?
Yes.
Not only was it parked at the airport, it was parked in a tow zone.
Illegally.
He called me, it's like, "Ed," he said a few choice words about it. I left my Bentley parked in a tow zone, and you got the extra key, go move the car. Instead of me moving the car, she flew back to move the car, which left him
alone.
That bothered me for a long time too.
And see, I didn't know. I found that out later that she was there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that part until maybe 10 years later. It's been 15 years now, right?
Yeah.
About 10 years later, 5-10 years later. I was like, she was there?
The only thing that eased me about that was the other story, with what was seen about the stuff being poured.
Yes.
That made me change my whole thought process on what was running through my mind. Because, you know, at the time.
Alibi.
Yeah.
Watch local and national NFL games with YouTube TV. And with NFL Sunday Ticket, get the most live NFL game.
It does seem quite suspicious, though. I mean,
allegedly, y'all. Allegedly, y'all.
Yeah. Solid edge, because I know y'all gonna.
I'm gonna tell you right now. My wife is true crime
No,
to the heart.
The gears is grinding.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And stuff like that you see in movies.
Yeah.
You make sure you're here, so they see you. Allegedly, y'all. Just
yeah.
Because you and I have know some things that we're not gonna say, exactly. Because everybody would be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not just you and I think you and I and maybe one other person. So a couple other people. That is wild. And you know, last time I saw Bird, I told you this story before the camera came on. Bird said he walked in on Mama while she was living on Shreveport Ave, right?
Yeah.
Came in through the garage like we always did. And he said as he was coming in the house, she was finishing a argument on the phone with someone.
Yeah.
And all he could hear her say was, "Baby, you didn't own it while he was alive and you ain't gonna own it now." And he didn't know what that was about. And he said, "Mama, who was that?" She said, "That was that Larry nigga. Old buddy."
Yeah.
And he said that he owned UGK now.
Now here's why he thought that.
I didn't know why, but you could tell us.
I'm not sure the total amount.
He said that on the phone.
He gave like $100K.
Put another zero. Yes.
So that's motive there. Because I mean, look, if common sense, if you got two people that own one company,
yes,
one person dead,
yes,
is your
no. He didn't say he owned UGK Records.
Oh, he owned UGK.
Yes, that's what he said.
Wow,
that's pretty big.
Yes. So this is Bird telling me, so I always have to say, I don't care who tells me, we gonna always cover ourselves, allegedly.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But just that all these stories we're connecting dots like Tom Keaton.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what Tom Keaton is, right? Okay. You're connecting the dots like Tom Keaton or whatever his name is. Keaton, the officer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Who helped Vlad solve this Tupac, the QFD case.
Yeah.
So, it's strong.
Yeah.
It's strong.
And that number, I can believe that because he had it.
Yes.
He had it.
I heard some strange things about Buddy.
And this was 2006. He had
Yes.
I'm just like, don't joke with me and put it in my drink. Who?
Well, maybe he knew what he was putting in the drink.
Well, duh,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yes.
That's what I mean.
Because the boy would walk around with a case of unopened lean in the box.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
They say he could walk right up into a Walgreens and go get it.
Yeah.
Like he was the pharmacist. I got that from a reliable source in Los Angeles. So if I'm hearing it, me and you have never talked about this.
Never.
So we on the same page.
Yeah.
This is some crazy shit, Ed.
Yeah.
It really is.
This is really, really some crazy shit, man. And rest in peace to the pimp, bro.
Yeah.
No, long live the pimp.
Yes, sir.
And
man, you know, it's at one point too, me and Big Mitch talked about this.
Yeah.
He had a song, It's So Hard. Live that song, Living This Life.
Yes.
Talking about I don't want to do this no more.
Bro, I couldn't listen to that song until probably 3-4 years ago.
He was in a tug of war with his mama and his wife. And for
Chat, we gonna come right back to that one, chat. We're gonna come right back to that one.
Real life.
It ain't real life. Real life street stars. You know what time it is.
Okay.
Did you not hear the little white man we just spoke to? And talking about using the ketamine.
We heard.
And you gotta do the ketamine. It's a horse tranquilizer.
I mean, you got ketamine.
Did you hear what I said?
It's a horse.
Diddy said you gotta use the horse tranquilizer if you want to get closer to the music.
But
you can't feel anything.
Kanye said you got to use the nitrous oxide.
Are we sure he said that, or was that AI?
True. I don't know because they say his dentist, who doesn't like a dentist.
Isn't it funny? Because his mama's surgeon didn't look like much of a surgeon either.
It gets a little wild like that.
Nah, it gets real simple like that. Now all of a sudden, his doctor is saying that he's unstable, and his doctor's saying this. So if something happens and his doctor gives him something, and he Michael Jackson's up out of here, then you know.
That's kind of what they're setting a stage. They're setting a stage.
I wish they would do that to Jennifer Hudson. I wish they set a stage for her. Because I'm sick and tired of a bitch who was willing to sacrifice her own family and a child just getting away with murder. And everybody thinking she great. Like, now that I'm starting to see, because I never really paid too much attention because I know that she was selected to try to replace me in some way. So I never really spent a lot of time focusing on her because I knew she was a plant. But when I look at the predatory way that she was looking for the same kind of relationship with Clive Davis as Whitney Houston had, I said, oh, Whitney Houston fame, that's big fame. Damn. Just your mama and the baby, and you can be Whitney Houston too. And then when I see her on the Clive on the red carpet, and somebody asked her about Clive, and she said, Clive is my everything. I'd be nothing without Clive. And then it makes you think about the first Whitney Houston tribute when she was really trying her hardest to look like Whitney Houston. I never really thought about it. I always knew that Brandy wanted the gig to replace Whitney Houston. But something went wrong that night. Jennifer. If she was willing to fucking sacrifice Whitney Houston so she could be a bad talk show host. It's sad. And if you look at the numbers lining up with Selena Enos Dinos, Texas girl. And the way Jennifer Hudson just kind of used the spirit of all of that to create everything that she's not. I just think we need to start paying more attention. Erykah Badu being named greatest R&B soul singer of all time right after Sean Martin leaves us. What the fuck is that bitch done to deserve that title? That's about as right as fucking Usher having a Lifetime Achievement Award over Chris Brown. You know who should be upset about that shit? Erykah being known as the greatest R&B and soul singer of all time. Her friend Jill Scott. Jill would actually be more appropriate for that title than Erykah. Ugh. Wonder how that feels.
Jack, so to play devil's advocate, for those that say Jaguar Wright is jealous of their careers.
Why would I be jealous of sacrificing people and accepting false accolades for shit that I didn't earn. Like at the end of the day, this is the thing that people are not paying attention to. And I hope when they finally listen to Jonathan. And I'm not going to say that we just had the greatest interview with Jonathan Hay that he's ever going to have. What I will say is I think it was the realest and it was the most honest. I've never heard him speak as much as he spoke with us here tonight. I've never heard him share the details. But the question is it because he didn't want to, or is it because everywhere he went before us asked him nothing real? Why are you interviewing a man that has that kind of knowledge and all you want to know is a bunch of bullshit? Why don't you want to know nothing real? I don't care what nobody say. TC, you can keep asking people to watch that horse shit. I guarantee you, Pepsi Challenge, when Jonathan Hayes' interview hits on the blue couch, it's gonna do more than 150,000 in 2 days, and we ain't gonna have to beg nobody to come watch it like you've done, because you're a lying fucking piece of shit scam plan. For Tasha K, and I know you work for Tasha K, because all of her troll farmers are protecting your image, and you don't ask nothing real. And guess what? Even Messy Sweet Spot said you didn't ask shit real. Matter of fact, she said what everybody said. All of your fucking interviews.
Good luck, Mac. Respect, Mac.
And someone's feeding you information. How about you leave Diddy alone? Like, leave all of these conversations alone. Because what I noticed is, ever since you started doing shit and confusing the waters, it's been kind of competing with Tough News. And Tough News is committed to getting justice for Kim Porter. That I know. What the fuck are you in it for, Tisa? Or should I call you Jacqueline McKinney? Because that's actually your name, Jackie. Jackie. It's your name. And your failed husband, former football player, tailback for the Sun Devils? He didn't even make it to the NFL. Plays a lot of golf, doesn't he? Do yourself a favor. The next time you decide you want to come after Tiffany Haddish, the next time you decide that you want to discredit someone by asking them a bunch of bullshit so nobody will come back and ask them something real like we did here today. I don't even think I got any advice for you. Oh yeah, I do.
Hey y'all, let's get back to Storm, because I see Storm talking about some real shit, chat. I'm looking at certain stuff while I'm not on cam, chat. But Storm is talking about some real shit. Hold on, let's get to it.
Crazy. But anyway, she's in the car. Okay. Looking like she's trapped in the back seat. Beyonce stuck in a... Who is the light bearer? Because Lucifer believes you should follow him and not Jesus. They believe it's inverted. Hold up. Now y'all gonna make me... What is a Luciferian? Let's see.
Hi, I'm Hansulen. In this video, in the Life Explained series, I would like to explore with you the Luciferian doctrine. Now, you may know about Lucifer, but have you heard about the Luciferian doctrine and how it influences our world today? To understand where it came from, we have to go back to the 11th century. All of Europe was in the firm grip of the Catholic Church. At that time, the church was sending thousands of men as crusaders to recapture the Holy Land, and in particular Jerusalem, which had fallen into Muslim hands. Now, who were these men, these crusaders? They came from all walks of life. The one thing they had in common was their belief in the Catholic teachings. However, when these men traveled to the Middle East, they were suddenly exposed to many different beliefs and spiritual teachings that they had never heard before. These teachings came from Judaic and Islam mysticism. They came from Egypt, from Greece, and even from faraway places like India. For some of came from Judaic and East.
Okay, Judaic mysticism, one of the original forms of Judaism. This is the Kabbalah. But there's two versions of Kabbalah. Like this is Kabbalah, and then there's another version of Kabbalah that Hollywood does that's something totally different from this.
Islam mysticism, they came from Egypt, from Greece, and even from faraway places like India. For some of these men, they were a truly mind-blowing experience. They also began to hear different interpretations of a familiar biblical text, things they had never heard in their church. One particular passage stood out. It was a story of the snake tempting Eve with the apple. The Catholic Church had taught them that the snake was Lucifer or Satan, who deceived Eve by promising that if she would eat from the forbidden tree, she would become like God. Suddenly, these men were introduced to a very different interpretation. They heard that Lucifer was not evil or Satan, but the God who wanted to save and educate mankind. In truth, they called him the light bringer, the real God, and that Yahweh, or Adonai in the Bible, was in actuality the devil, the suppressor of mankind, because he didn't want Eve and Adam to know their true identity.
Yes. Okay, now it's making sense. That's why a part of Luciferianism is all about like intellectualism and being your own God and not being denied anything and being like fully of knowledge. In Christianity, though, you know, the Lord didn't want us to have knowledge of certain things. That was all for a reason. So they literally believe it's flipped. Got it. Well, I'm gonna follow God. Now, if people want to follow Lucifer, that's your business. But I'm good on that. I don't feel drawn to that. I'm gonna follow God. Okay, but let's keep listening.
Teaching became the famous Luciferian doctrine. Now, when these men returned home from the Holy Land, they continued talking about these new ideas and interpretations. But they knew they could only do so under strictest secrecy, as the church would torture and kill anybody who would question or challenge their teachings and authority. This eventually led to the birth of many secret societies, most famously the Templars, the Rosicrucian, and the various Masonic orders. These very mixed teachings from many different occult traditions were secretly studied, eventually wrapped in rituals, and protected by gruesome and blood-curdling oaths that the members had to swear to ensure secrecy. But everything changed in the year 1888 when the founder of the Theosophical Society, Madame Blavatsky, made most of these teachings public in her famous book, The Secret Doctrine, which she spiced up with some of her own fanciful imaginations. Central to Madame Blavatsky's teaching was the Luciferian doctrine. The first edition of the book stated that Lucifer is the only God for our planet. No surprise that her magazine was also called Lucifer. It was the beginning of what we now would call the New Age. Originally, it was promoted as the time when the Lightbringer, Lucifer, would lead mankind to a new era of tolerance and peace. Rudolf Steiner started.
This dude looks really dark. Yeah, King James, who wrote the Bible, who wrote the King James version of the Bible. Yeah, he was. Yes, he also wrote Demonology. You're right. And I believe he was also a homosexual. I'm sorry, a ligga bigga tigger. It wasn't an apple, it was an apple. See, it's so much confusion. There's so much confusion. Strid said, as always, the Europeans. Well, yeah, the European men believe that they're the most angelic. They believe that this earth is theirs. And that we're put here that every other race, especially blacks, are put here to be their servants, be their slaves. So I know you're like, damn, it's always the Europeans. Yeah, because they have a God complex. They believe they are God. And they believe that this planet is theirs. And as far as the Negro, the so-called black man, they believe that we're put here just to be used for physical labor or for our sexuality. And if you notice, even to this day, and I talked about this, so call me kinfolk, as a black person, what do you get mostly rewarded for? What's the easiest way for a black person to come into wealth? Your sexuality or your body, sports, entertainment. It just makes you think. It just makes you think.
off as the secretary of the Germans. He was not worked out as planned and would eventually dissolve the entire organization.
Okay, I'm gonna leave that there. I'm over that. Okay, somebody told me come read Deuteronomy 28. If you fully obey the Lord your God and carefully follow all his commands I give you today, the Lord God will set you above all the nations on earth. All these blessings will come on you and accompany you if you obey the Lord your God. You will be blessed in the city and blessed in the country. The fruit of your womb will be blessed, and the crops of your land, and the young of your livestock, the cows of your herds, and the lambs of your flocks. Your basket and your kneading trough will be blessed. You will be blessed when you come in and blessed when you go out. The Lord will grant that the enemies who rise up against you will be defeated before you. They will come at you from one direction, but flee from you in 7. The Lord will send a blessing on your barns and on everything you put your hand to. The Lord your God will bless you in the land he is giving you. The Lord will establish you as his holy people, as he promised you on oath, if you keep the commands of the Lord your God and walk in obedience. He will establish you as his holy people. Then all the peoples on earth will see that you are called by the
Fresh agave taste from 100% agave. Hornitos, a fresh take.
Parents are still making their children's victims of the internet. Clearly, they're not paying attention to the fact that they're setting them up to be groomed.
Real life. It ain't real life.
It ain't real life. Just say. Real life street stars. You know what time it is.
Real quick, Jake, I have to ask you, you spoke on R. Kelly. His daughter, I believe it might be out by the time this comes out, but his daughter has something to say about her father, a secret that she kept about her father that made her say, I'll never bring your grandchildren around you, because of something that may have happened that conspired between them two. For her,
basically, she's alleging that her father lost his control with her.
Basically, that's what she's alleging. And again, I don't know where it's going. She hasn't said it, but she's going to say it, I assume. But when you hear stories like that, where obviously this secret has been held since she was a child, and she's a woman now, and she's saying, I didn't want to believe it about my father until it happened to me.
It happened to me.
Like, how many of these stories you feel exist?
Lots, on lots, on lots. Everything that you just said is everything that I experienced in my own family. My sister Lachelle hates me and is working with Transrena Kibi against me because she's upset that our mother was single when she was born and used to drop her off with our uncle Candyman, who was a child pedophile. And everyone knew it. And my mother kept dropping her off there. And he kept sexually assaulting her. And when I asked my mom why she did something so stupid like that when everyone knew what he was, she said, well, he's my dad's baby brother. And my daddy would have killed him if he did anything to my baby. And I said, you know what? That was, wow. Wow.
Everybody got somebody like that in their family.
Yeah.
Because a predator is a predator.
You probably know Vistaprint for business cards. Yep. But did you know we also print these?
They don't care about their punishment. They just want to get their fix in, see? Like, I know drug addicts who rob drug dealers knowing they're going to come back and hurt them and hit them and shoot them and not care because the drugs are so good and they so numb, they just going to take that beating. They done already got what they wanted. It's an addiction.
They made again, we just spoke on it last time. They made a whole song, called Uncle Chester, Mama, Mama, Please Don't Leave, because Chester's going to put his hands on me.
Yeah.
Do you feel like society is still turning a blind eye?
Of course they are. They're still letting their children watch TV. If society really gave, they would turn off the televisions. They would take away the phones. Their children's minds, they are being groomed around the clock. All of the stuff that our kids see on the internet and the parental stuff, it's so easy to get around. Your mom puts a parental lock on yours, so then you call a friend and then you find out, you get another email address and just create another one and lie about your age, and now you there.
It increases the curiosity. Oh, this is locked? Oh, we're gonna work around it.
Exactly. So if parents are still making their children's victims of the internet, clearly they're not paying attention to the fact that they're setting them up to be groomed. Families are making kids victims with the shows they watch, the music they listen to, the video games they play. It's a young man that just beheaded his father because he said he was an enemy of the country. Is it true? Could be. Is that boy crazy? Could be. Did he do a good thing? Could be. All of those things could be true at the same time. Why is no one in this country talking about that? There's people just, they're losing their minds out here.
Yeah, let me ask you, and you shouted out Zoe Kravitz on Pierce Morgan,
Yes.
Blink Twice movie.
Yeah.
And of course you gave us a breakdown on our own channel. Go watch that as far as the breakdown of that. But one thing I want to ask you, as far as in the Blink Twice movie, with Channing Tatum's, I don't want to call it his demise, were you satisfied with the ending in which, please explain.
I would have done the exact same thing she did.
Become the wife.
The truth is, in my own way, I have. She already knows that the system is set up to not believe her, to work against her. She already knows she's a black woman and that her word against a white man still means nothing. But if the white man is vouching for us, and if she's the one that's influencing what's happening behind the scenes. See, the only way you have a problem with the ending of that movie is if you don't understand power and control.
We would like to see the puppet master.
If you want to keep from getting your strings pulled, you better learn how to pull some strings yourself.
Bars.
And all of the women that she saved by locking him down, and it cut off the head of that hydra, of that nasty little network of abusers.
So not expose it, but control it.
Yeah. I mean, you can expose, and y'all can look through my life and everything that you've seen happen since we all started working together. What happens with exposures? You make yourself vulnerable to all kinds of attacks, seen and unseen.
Yeah, that's facts.
But what if I had decided to go back with my head held low and said, Sean, I'm willing to play the game, and then found a way to get inside of him and move him around? That's all that happened.
Yeah.
She made sure that her victimizer could never victimize her or anyone else again. So the people that saw that as offensive buy into the belief that this is fair. Let's just be real. How the hell is any of this we're talking about actually happening in real life without the authorities knowing about it, having some knowledge of it, and no control of stopping it?
You pay off the police.
Yeah, but why is it being said that police have been paid off, authorities have been paid off, it's being proven that people are being paid off, and there's no major news story about those police officers being investigated, about those people being arrested, about those people being shut down? Why is qualified immunity creating blanket coverages for perverts in and out of the system? They got hip hop cops and none of these seen those kids? You got 15 different people in the past 10 years go and do interviews with Vlad, calling themselves hip hop cops. Y'all saw none of this. And you didn't go and take any of this to the higher ups. You didn't take it to the commissioner. You didn't take it to the police oversight committee. Why is it just falling on the bad guys? Why isn't it falling on? I mean, honestly, if we really take an honest look at all of this that's going on, it's making the American justice system and our police force look totally inept.
I've always believed, because I believe the war on drugs.
Yeah.
It's like Big Pharma. It's not profitable to stop it. We don't want to stop y'all from selling drugs. We don't want to stop this human trafficking. We want election year. Yeah, we need.
Let's make it look like we care about the people again.
Right.
And then let's get them to vote for that don't care about the people at all.
Oh, now you're trying to go somewhere, right? Now you're trying to go somewhere.
We can leave it right where I dropped it.
Yeah. Political jack.
No, they don't want me to get political. Because if I get political, a bunch of men are gonna walk through that door. They're gonna put a black bag over my head, put twisty ties around here. They're gonna drag me out of here and tell any of you if you say anything, you're dead.
They like entertainment. State entertainment industry.
Because they weren't armed at the time, the FBI was accompanied by local law enforcement officers, and in Georgia, let's just say that 100 some years ago, they did not recognize interracial marriage. So Jack Johnson was arrested for transporting a woman, his wife, across interstate lines for illicit purposes. So there is no money necessity involved in this, but it is known as the Mann Act. I'm looking at the 14-page indictment right now, and it doesn't say Mann Act anywhere in there, where usually it would. It mentions the federal code section. I'm looking at the rest of the 14 pages, and I find it absolutely extraordinary because there are only 3 counts to this indictment. And ordinarily, in my experience, an indictment like this would read, between the dates of 2009 up until the return of the indictment, the defendant did unlawfully transport females across state lines for illicit purposes, and they'd leave it at that. You would be guessing what they were talking about. You'd have to file motions to get a more particular statement, and the feds would fight like hell to keep you from finding out the details so they could try you by ambush. For these 3 counts in the indictment, they went over and over a lot of things. Like, for example, each particular phase of this thing, they keep repeating all of the defendant's aliases. Their standard procedure is in the very first paragraph. The defendant, in this case, and they list his aliases hereinafter known as the defendant, referred to as the defendant, and they would just say defendant in each count where that was necessary instead of repeating all of this. 2,000 bottles of lubricant oil. What in the devil is that? That has no business in the indictment. You have other things in here. The IV where the performers were given IV infusions to keep their energy up, I guess, because these things have gone on so long. Now, let's translate what they're talking about. They're talking about an accusation that they never did say, but it's inferred that Diddy was pimping an orgy that lasted a while, and he did this on a routine basis, and there were guests that they referred to in the indictment as numerous witnesses, and these guests were coming to a mansion where there were various sex acts going on in various parts of the mansion for purposes of inspiration, and the guests could join in or be inspired by what they were seeing. They even mentioned in here, which was just the scandalous superfluity in this indictment, that Diddy was masturbating during the course of some of these proceedings, which would that's surplus language. That's just trying to inflame. They referred to this thing where we saw on video him running out of the hotel room with a towel without giving any of the background behind it and assaulting this woman. And they referred to it, and that's for inflammatory purposes because that's just part of the pimp game. By the way, anybody's talking about, yeah, man, I'm pimping, man, you know. That's what it's about. It's a filthy game. I represented enough pimps to know what the game is. It's been a long time ago, but it's been the same since time immemorial. They do call prostitution the world's second oldest profession, and whatever the first oldest one was, whoever was doing whatever that was to earn the money to pay for the services of the second oldest profession. So it's been going on for a long time. It's nothing new. And what I'm picking up on is that Diddy is being alleged to have conducted these sex shows, and he invited guests who had the use of his mansions to be involved in an orgy as they saw fit. He also is alleged to have recorded this, and that's where we get to what we're looking at. Somebody important is being or was recorded on these devices, and somebody is being protected. Now, I noticed that Diddy, through his lawyer, has been in continuous contact with the feds for quite a few months. Back in March, he surrendered his passport. He returned to New York, where he did not live, and secured a residence so he could participate in the defense of the case, which is all that's required. He was supposed to have been apprised of when the indictment would be unsealed, and he would be required to report with his lawyer and surrender himself after making bond arrangements. And there was supposed to have been a discussion on how much the feds were going to recommend the bond be set at. They ambushed him and arrested him in a shopping center with some of his kinfolk, and now they want him kept incognito, incommunicado, so he cannot talk to anyone. That's what the feds have been doing, and most recently involving these mortgage fraud situations, so that parties who could blow the whistle on other parties were not able to communicate with anyone, even their lawyers, but say once a week. so they could not tell what they knew. And that's what we have here. It is unusual for Homeland Security to be involved in these things, and there are some references in here that the offenses had an international impact, which brings in Homeland Security instead of leaving this up to the FBI, which is for domestic matters, ordinarily of these nature, of this type of thing. And remember, the FBI was set up to go get Jack Johnson so they could set up and prosecute under what became the Mann Act. So this is the FBI's bailiwick. They were only present during the service of the search warrants. They weren't the primary parties. What that indicates to me, in my experience, is that somebody in the FBI was not being trustworthy and might.
Behold, Jimmy John's new smoked cheddar bourbon club. Taste with premium roasted meats, exquisite, and smooth bourbon sauce.
Give confidential information to somebody outside, which they didn't want, so they brought in Homeland Security. This is not ordinarily the type of thing that Homeland Security deals with. So you'll notice, too, that 2 of his mansions were searched. One was in California, fine. One was in Florida. The peculiar thing about the one in Florida is that on the same lot, Diddy had a second mansion, which was not searched. And what they seem to have gotten is a lot of recordings that they confiscated. Now, you might say that's evidence in the case, but the point of the exercise is that even though quite a few people are mentioned indirectly, only one person got indicted. In the federal practices, usually when you have months to investigate something, they indict everybody and they mention everybody, even if they are listed as an unindicted co-actor. They did not do that in this case, which is indicative of them trying to hide somebody's identity and protect some people. The other point is from what you can determine, most of this happened in Florida or California. Why no indictments returned there, and why did they pick New?
My bad, chat. I'm just getting the camera right because I got to charge the camera while we still live, chat. So my bad for moving the camera, but I'm gonna keep the audio going.
New York. What they seem to have done is, considering the totality of the circumstances and the U.S. attorney involved, is they picked New York because it was particularly hostile to Donald Trump and particularly favorable to protecting anybody who is against Trump. So we're kind of put on clue as to who the rest of these unmentioned witnesses, meaning attendees at these events, happen to be. The other point I find interesting is they made a big to-do during the bond review situation that they had yesterday with the fact that he had 3 disassembled carbines and some loaded magazines. Now, everybody and his mama has stuff like that in Florida since it's a constitutional carry and gun-friendly state. In New York, there are a bunch of little freaks who get, oh my God, he's got a gun now. And even though there were some federal crimes involved with altered serial numbers on the 3 receiver groups, which is against the law, I think they picked New York so they could use the fact that he had 3 weapons, which, hell, everybody on my block has got 10 times more than that, as something condemning and touching on or giving semblance to some justification for not setting a bond or even allowing a bond. Now, they're going to go in front of a federal court today, I imagine, and if not, they'll probably go trot down to D.C., which is not that far from New York, and seek one of the appellate judges on the Second Circuit Court of Appeals to set a bar. They can pick anyone they want. The government can come back and demand a bigger hearing, and they'd probably have a 3-member panel that would be selected at random. But in any event, something stinks to high heavens with this whole case. Now, with that said, I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, no, that's some great information. You know, over the last few months, people have kind of been leaving little comments and saying little things, you know, like that. The next thing I'll ask you is, what do you see being the outcome of this case? And it looks like Diddy's going to be the fall guy. Do you see him getting bond, and do you see him being convicted?
Well, if they can prove the allegations, remember there are only 3 counts. And basically what they're accusing him of is pimping and procuring. And one count that deals with the after effects of doing what pimps do to ply their business. And an inference that somehow or another this is organized crime, which is not the intent of RICO. By the way, they don't use the word RICO in the indictment, which ordinarily they would. And RICO is 54 years old. It was passed in 1970, and it was to deal with John Gotti type situation, gangsters, drug cartels, and that kind of situations. You see it being used or bastardized in Georgia to go after a teachers group, former president of the United States for engaging in political activity, and for proceeding against a rap group for having some disagreeable lyrics. So it's being corrupted. It's racketeering, influenced, organized crime is what the thing stands for. RICO. Racketeering or influenced.
Being able to have something to always protect myself with this Byrna allows me to have that peace of mind no matter where we're really.
Criminal organizations. And they are pushing it for political purposes. And the last time they did this was about 10, 11 years ago when they had a series of prosecutions that were initiated on state levels for mortgage fraud, mortgage foreclosure fraud. You got some people who had something that would have contributed evidence-wise in sustaining these allegations of foreclosure fraud. They got locked up and charged peripherally for remotely associated things. And interestingly, what the feds did is they used Homeland Security to get them locked incommunicado so they couldn't communicate with anybody. And particularly, the governor in Maryland got implicated in one of these scams, and his niece, who was a federal prosecutor, busted somebody that could have blown the whistle on him. And that person got held incommunicado. Then there was, of course, the thing with the presidential candidate, Kamala Harris, out on the West Coast with George Soros, who was also hooked up with the Maryland thing, and One West Bank, along with Mnuchin, who was the CEO for that bank, and became part of the Obama administration for a year, the Trump administration for that matter. But people were locked up and held incommunicado, so they could not do anything about that. But there were 5,200 counts of indictments returned against One West Bank. And the mention that Kamala Harris, when she got elected as Attorney General for California, consolidated, dismissed And then a few weeks later, Soros sold One West Bank for, I think it was $3.42 billion, made a tidy profit off of it. So this is part of a process that got put in place 40 years ago by Eastland from Mississippi, Biden, and Byrd, who had formerly been Grand Dragon for the Klan in the U.S., and they were in the U.S. Senate together, and they added these provisions to U.S. criminal law codes that allowed this kind of persecution for political purposes. So it's nothing new. It's been around for 40-some years. I've defended people who've been caught up in it. That's been a while ago, but it is a bad thing. So this is the same thing that went after R. Kelly about in a couple of his series of cases. His circumstances are somewhat different because that involved underage children. But as I'm reading this indictment, as I'm talking to you, I'm going back over it, and I don't see any references to underage children in this indictment. So any questions or comments so far?
Yes, sir. We highlighted some of those exact points yesterday as well, as far as there's no underage, didn't seem like any indictment or any underage involvement, which would obviously be deemed as guilty, and that would be crazy and things like that. What I want to ask you is, it seems as though federal authorities are using the tactic of crushing his character and making him guilty in the public before being guilty in the court of law. Is that a tactic that the feds typically use, and how beneficial is that? And do you think that's going on right now?
You can thank the current president of the United States for that. I just alluded to it. Eastland and Byrd came up 40 years ago with changes in the federal criminal laws that allowed that to happen. It's called these days lawfare. That's what they're talking about. Now, Diddy is presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. They have to put the trial on and they have to convict him. But what I'm looking at is an extra effort to totally discredit him. So if he is later in a position of being a whistleblower, his credibility will be completely destroyed, and public opinion can be steered in a direction where basically anything he says can be ignored or
Y'all picking up on that? What's up, Knuckles?
I think that's why it's looking like it does. As I look at it and read the indictments, it's nothing that I haven't run into before, representing a lot of pimps, prostitutes, and dancers. And it's just pimping and procuring. That's what they're talking about. And in this case, the purpose was to set up some freak parties, freak shows, orgies, where performances were being professionally put on in various places in a mansion while the rest of the folk could get their freak on. That's what you're looking at here.
Right. Now there's another aspect of it as well where they are accusing him of forcefully, making men and women do sexual acts that they did not want to do. Okay.
They wouldn't even say that. That's just adding a bit in there to make it look worse. Essentially, there's 3 counts to this indictment, but instead of 2 pages, it's 14 because they add a lot of the stuff in there to make it look horrible to the typical person that is likely to get this, which most aren't. They just hear the news media talk about it.
So now it's been a lot of discussion going on, and we can argue to our face turn blue whether or not Diddy is a good man or not. But we're talking about whether or not he has broken the law to the point where he needs to be put behind bars for a number of years. And that's where we're at right now. In your opinion.
That's not the important part.
Right.
That's well set up, the due process of law in the Bill of Rights and also in the 14th Amendment. He's got the right to due process, whether it's on a state level, which this is, federal level, which comes in under the Bill of Rights. What we're talking is, why is the U.S. government taking it upon itself to do what it's doing, where it becomes very obvious if you read between the lines, they're trying to protect somebody instead of prosecute them as co-actors in this mess. And why
He says, I believe he told on himself about the cat. Did he? No, he didn't. Did he? Charleston White animal abuse. So Biggie's mom, I don't know if she was aware of this, but she was caught. Oh, well, not caught, but she spoke with Gene Deal over the phone and expressed her support of him exposing Diddy. Listen to this.
Yo, John.
I got you.
Yo, John.
Gene, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro.
All right, Ms. Wallace, Gene want to say hi to you real quick before I get off the phone, because Gene was on my other phone. Gene, here go Ms. Wallace.
Gene Deal. Hey, Ms. Wallace, Gene Deal.
Oh, hi, Gene. How are you?
All right, man. You know I ain't seen you since I came to your house and had that conversation with you. How you been? You all right?
I've been okay. I've been watching you on Facebook.
I'm sorry, Ms. Wallace. I'm sorry I had to do what I had to do, but you know, it is what it is.
Okay. I know you do.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace. Like I told people, I said if Ms. Wallace would have called me and told me to shut it down, I would have shut it down. Ms. Wallace ain't called. She knew how to get in touch with me. If Ms. Wallace didn't tell me to shut it down, I'm going to keep doing it because I respect you, Ms. Wallace.
You gotta do what you do.
Thank you, Ma. I appreciate you.
What you do.
All right, hey, Ms. Wallace, I love you. I want you to get some rest, okay? So go ahead and get you some rest, all right?
Oh, damn. Essentially, this is the green light that what Gene Deal, which, again, I think Diddy's in jail right now saying, if I had paid off, obviously Cassie, but if I had just given Gene Deal $30,000, okay? Giving this nigga $30,000 and probably told Jaguar Wright that I'm going to put out her next album, I'd be chilling on a 500-foot Jeff Bezos yacht and not in jail, which, you know, again, it appears that the Roosters has come home for Diddy, but it appears that people who we think have been cool with him, they're not really crying out like, yo, this is a travesty. They're almost saying, yeah, let it happen. And that's what it seems that Valletta Wallace, aka Biggie's mom, you know, she's expressing her support for Gene Deal. I don't know how well she knew him. Obviously, this was a bodyguard that was around during the time of Biggie being, you know, protected and working in the music business. So she probably had some type of semblance of knowledge of who he was, but she clearly doesn't want to denounce. And she had the opportunity because he said it. I don't know if she heard it all the way, but he basically said, if you would have said I should shut it down, I would have shut it down. And she said, nah, keep doing what you do. And those are very, very, very powerful words, if you ask me. Okay. Hold on. Where was I going with this?
All right, chat. I do want to get back to this interview we was watching earlier.
One day, I felt what he went through.
Yep.
Because they was pulling me like that, trying to make arrangements for the funeral. Until I totally just handed it over to my mama.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't do this no more. I need you to step in and help me. Because mama, my family, but legally, this is wife. Ain't too much you can do legally.
Right.
So I'm trying to play, all right, look, give this to get that.
Yes.
And something happened in between where everything just got blown out of the water. And I'm like, you know what?
As funerals.
You know who I feel? You know who I feel so bad about? For
Chris. I talked to Chris a little while ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I want to see.
She's doing good.
Yeah,
she out
I've
there
heard that.
doing her thing. Got a nail tech business going
already.
Yeah.
Vito was always in contact with her.
Yeah.
So just know I'm thinking about you because I have a special place in my heart for girls, little girls.
Mm-hmm.
We got 4 daughters.
Yeah.
And
she's not too far from y'all. She in Grambling.
Oh, okay.
Nigga, that ain't nowhere near Dallas.
Well, I always heard Grambling.
Hey, Grambling? Ain't that in New Orleans?
It's closer to
it's closer to here than it is to there. Yeah.
Y'all closer to we got to Port Arthur.
Yeah. I don't know. That's 6 hours. It take 9 hours to get to New Orleans. It don't take me 6 hours to get to PA. Much as I beat up that highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a heavy foot.
No, it's 3.5 hours here. Then I'm from here to Port Arthur. What? About an hour and a half. Got that up.
Yeah.
5 hours.
Here it's about an hour and a half.
Yeah, 5 hours. But then when you put some fun in it, 4.5, 5 hours.
Where is he, Bill?
Okay. Look, I can't even sleep in the car.
How did you feel when you heard "High Till I Die" and you heard your name? I keep on saying "High Life." You know what High Till I Die is, don't you?
Well,
have you ever heard "High Till I Die"? With me on it.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Shout out Big Mike.
Yeah.
Anyway, how did you feel when you heard "High Life" and you heard your name on there?
At first, before I heard the song, I went to the house on Sandjack and I got out the car and people was, "What's up, Egg on the boat?" I ain't on the boats no more. What y'all talking about? So you ain't heard the song? I'm like, nah, what song? So when I get in the house, she was like, "Hey, cuz, I gave you a shout out on my song." And that's when I heard it. I'm like, wow. And then he was like, the reason I did it, because one time I told him how I was somewhere and I was like, "Oh, Pimp C, that's my cousin." And nobody believed me.
Yes.
So he said, "I gave you a shout out because now they can't never deny who you are because I done put you on a song."
Put you on a classic song, bro. On probably, this is arguably
the
most jammingest UGK album that ever came out.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a classic. Jay-Z said that was his favorite album.
Now, you know what affected me more than hearing me on the song, my name on the song?
What's that?
Something a female told me. He said, I had the red Bentley one day.
Mm-hmm.
And the girl was like, "You gonna let Ed take your Bentley?" Like, I don't give a damn about that car. I love Ed. Ed is the closest thing I got to a brother. Talking to Ed is like talking to me. And that right there meant the world to me.
You know, that is, bro. That makes you.
That, and we were in Benihana in LA. He had a few little drinks in him, and he was telling me, like, "Ed, you look at me as Pimp C, but I look at you as my big cousin. There's some things I'm not gonna do in front of you."
Oh.
And that was the largest form of respect I could have ever got from him.
Yeah. Because he respected you.
Yeah.
To the point of, like when people grow up without the dad 30 every day, you know what I'm saying? Or a big brother, like me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you seek that out.
Yeah.
And that's strong, bro.
Yeah.
Blowing my mind. Bun D. Have you had you a Trill Burger yet?
Oh yeah. I was blessed to have one at his 50th birthday party.
Oh.
Yeah.
How did you do a review?
No, I didn't, but I let my daughter. I was too busy just looking at the joy my daughter had on her face from it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was that good, huh?
Yeah.
Hey.
Because she kept talking about Trill Burgers all the whole time we were going. I'm like, you never know, they might be there.
Yeah.
And so when we got there and they gave us the Trill Burgers.
Yes.
I said, you tell your friends you had the best Trill Burger because you didn't have to wait in the line.
Yeah.
And they brought it to you.
That's what's up.
And
It was hot, fresh, and ready.
Yeah. She loved it.
She loved it?
She loved it.
You didn't eat yours?
Oh, yeah, it was good.
You like grilled onions on your burger?
I do.
I got to wrap my head around that one, but by the time this come out, I would have had tried it. Okay, it's good. I'm trying it while we're here.
Look, it's so good until I went home and tried to make one myself.
It didn't turn out the same.
You got to smash the burger and
I heard
everything.
you say
Now,
try.
see, I didn't smash it. I had a Judy's.
Wait a minute.
They don't know
My
nothing
meat
about
about that thing.
Ooh.
Boy, Judy's had them burgers, bro.
Yeah.
He made you a soup.
Hold on, chat. Academics.
Besides.
Oh yeah. That's
Academics got some news. I think y'all gonna want to hear it, chat. This is wild. Hold on. Let's check this one out, chat. Hold on.
Threesome with 2 women on the birthday.
Oh, my bad. I paused the bitch on accident.
Weekend of his wife. He went to Vegas. His homies were there. He had a threesome with 2 women. Okay? Eventually, it came out, or Kevin came out to say, hey, listen, I've cheated on my wife, my rib. That's what he used to call her. And he said, the people who were involved in this and some of my friends are sticking me up for ransom that I would have to pay them to keep quiet about it. So I'm going to just tell you all the truth. I cheated on my wife. There was like some still shots of the video that came out. We don't need to really get into that. However, it was then announced that Kevin Hart's friend, right here, see, betrayed by a close friend. His friend was arrested for extortion. Apparently, the story goes, or that these were the allegations, that Kevin Hart was essentially set up to have sex with this woman. And I guess her friend, I think it was a threesome, I forgot if it was. But there was a video camera set up in the room. And then that video camera captured the sexual act. And then he was asked to pay a certain amount to get rid of the video. So his friend got locked up. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, and this is the reason I was interested in this. Because this guy's been reached out. I still haven't talked to him, really. But I've been kind of like, they added me to a tracker that I could like look at court documents and stuff like that. Because I generally thought the story ended with, oh, okay, your homie who probably not as rich as you got jealous of you. You're this guy who's the Hollywood famous person. You're 5'2", fucking all the bitches, got all the money. He wants to get some money. He probably asked you for a loan. You said no. Now he set you up because he's trying to extort you. And he was trying to do it anonymously, got caught. That sounded good. So tell me if you're familiar with the rest of the story. So the rest of the story goes, they charged this guy, who's Kevin Hart's friend,
They're right there, mate, nigga.
with extortion.
We print tabletops that get your brand seen up close, and retractable banners that stop everyone in their tracks. We print A-frames that bring in business, posters that show them what you're all about, and vinyl banners that let everyone know you've arrived.
I believe Kevin Hart even spoke about the sex tape. I believe he might have, here we go. Like, for example, let's go to here.
There were people who were saying, and I know the investigators were saying, what's up with her? And she was a person of interest at the time. At that time, yes. Investigators from the DA's office, they're investigating the extortion plot against Kevin Hart, the 7-figure extortion plot in order to keep the tape secret. She claims she's a victim in this thing.
Nah, Kevin Hart, she looked kind of high. So this is the girl Kevin Hart was donkey fucking. Okay?
Jesus, act.
All right. Let me get to the interesting part. And this is the part I never knew before today. So what ended up happening is this guy gets charged. His best friend gets charged. Kevin Hart subsequently goes to talk about it. He even did a documentary that came out on Netflix. I think it's called Don't Fuck This Up.
What was never publicized is that the guy that was charged, his friend, which everyone's like, damn, yo, you fucked over your friend. All the charges supposedly got dropped. Not only did all the charges get dropped, a lot more drama came afterwards. The dude hired a lawyer and a team to prove, because here was the crux of the matter. They said that this guy sent an email, and I'm gonna show you these emails. This guy sent an email. If I show you these emails, you're gonna be like, this sounds like some clown shit. Let me try to pull it up. So they're saying that Kevin Hart's friend was behind. You ever heard of Proton Mail? Apparently, you can send email like anonymously, or it's hard to track. Apparently, his friend was supposedly behind the emails that was trying to extort him to pay the millions of dollars that this video didn't come out. Okay? Let me see if I can pull up the email. Here's the email here. Okay. Bet. Give me 1 second. Okay. Here's the email. All right. They sent an email to Kevin Hart. Your sex tape. Kevin, we have your sex tape. We also know about the molestation / attempted R word. For the first and last time, I hereby instruct you to send 20 Bitcoins to this Bitcoin address. We will email to inform you within half an hour of the transaction where to collect the copy, and we shall destroy all other copies we have. We promise we shall never share with Eniko or anyone else. That's his wife. We shall not distribute this material whatsoever. This email is also a non-disclosure agreement. This is non-negotiable. We are saving your divorce dime, man. Comply by Tuesday, May 2018. Now, let's look at that price. Price of Bitcoin in May 2018. The price of Bitcoin in May 2018 was $7,000. Was it 7,000? No fucking way. Wait, was it? Bitcoin was $7,000 in 2018? No, fucking wasn't. Was it? Hold on. Bitcoin, yeah, May 2018. What the fuck? Okay, so 7,000. 7,000 times 20, we can do the math, that's $150,000. I thought they were millions. What the fuck? Well, I guess over time it would have been millions. Because I remember that like by the time everything came out, they kept saying millions. And then you get to realize it took a while before Bitcoin really got there. Was Bitcoin really that low in May 2018? Yeah, the closing price of Bitcoin in May, yeah, okay, fuck, whatever. So 20 Bitcoin would have been about $150,000, $160,000. Okay, cool. So they're asking for that amount. Now, if this is and it came from somebody named Juan Carlos Yepes. Now, apparently it came from a Proton Mail email, which you can't really trace. It's really hard to trace those. I think that's why people use it, and they're like really secure. Okay, now so y'all probably, one in the chat if you've seen this before, this email, two in the chat if you've never seen it. Okay, now this is like so interesting to me, chat, because what ended up happening was this. So I'm explaining what happened. That's the email. Now, the way how his best friend got charged, and this is a step I'm kind of missing. I've been trying to figure it out, but I couldn't pull the actual court documents because everything is dismissed. And for whatever reason, I think I would have to go down to a LA County court clerk to figure it out. And I couldn't find any other article that was kind of really spelling it out. I tried. But what ended up happening is that his friend gets charged, but why does his friend get charged? What happens is Kevin Hart, because he's rich and he has money for investigators and stuff like that, they essentially built the case for the cops, right? They're like, oh, we got this to our email, blah, 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 da, 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 da. And they described the whole situation. they basically have the DA who's now thinking, yo, A-list celebrity getting extorted, and they're giving us all the proof, we have to do something. Subsequently, what they do, they charge this guy. Okay? Eventually, the case falls apart. I'll tell you why. The case falls apart and they drop every charge against him for a few reasons. Because Kevin Hart and his team compiled the information, in any kind of criminal case, there has to be real diligence held to evidence. So what ended up happening is that when this guy got a forensic expert to look at the emails, Kevin Hart didn't hold what they call chain of custody that would verify the validity. Like, for example, I think they copied and pasted it to a Microsoft Word, right? And then they put it in a PDF, right? So it came in a PDF, and essentially you'll see it here, Word. They had the guy who's the defendant basically had his guy look at it to say this could have been fabricated Microsoft Word because the generating PDF was from Microsoft Word, not from the actual emails. Also, I think they wanted to get the actual emails from Kevin Hart. There was a problem there. It was kind of iffy and weird. And actually, this guy's point now is saying he believes Kevin Hart was trying to, like, he was caught cheating, of course, but it was easier to blame it on his friend than just admit that he was just doing some fucked up. Like, it's the cheating goes away when you think about the extortion. So he took one problem, made it a bigger problem, but they're saying, at least this guy, he's saying that Kevin Hart fabricated this whole thing. In Microsoft Word, this email was fabricated, even though I think it might be real because there's actually footage. Like, somebody did set up a camera and recorded him having sex. And I'm pretty sure that's not Kevin Hart. You would not set up a camera to record yourself having sex with a woman you're cheating on your wife with. Wouldn't, right? But this guy who's accused, the case falls apart because everything that Kevin Hart is saying to the DA that caused the charge, because they charge the guy with extortion, it falls apart. Here's what happens next. And this is, again, 1 in the chat if you've heard this, 2 in the chat if you've never. No, 0 in the chat if you've never. It gets to the point where this guy gets such a good legal team and, like, investigators, they enter into an agreement with Kevin Hart that Kevin Hart has to tell the prosecutor that he no longer wants charges pressed. Basically by saying, hey, listen, you have slandered this guy. There is no case here. I'm going to show you that letter. There's a letter there. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull it up. Like, yo, this is fucking crazy. I kid you not. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to show you. Is it this? I want to show you the emails. Okay, give me 1 second. That's not it. Where's that? I'm gonna show you the email between. It's like it's an email that. No, that's not it. That's not it. Is it that? No. Is it that? No. Is it that? No. As Kevin Hart signed an agreement, okay? And this agreement, I want to show y'all, this is confidentially a settlement between all parties. So Kevin Hart signed this. And it said, the settlement is between Heartbeat Productions, Kevin Hart, and the guy, his name is Jonathan Jackson. And basically they're saying, they detail what happened. Jackson and Kevin Hart maintain a multi-year personal relationship. During the duration of the relationship, Jackson and Kevin Hart confided in each other, shared personal information. The nature of the relationship often caused Jackson and Kevin Hart to spend significant time together, which included traveling to Vegas in or about August 2017. By the way, interestingly enough, when is Eniko Hart birthday?
Introducing the Filter Sorb Whole.
August. She's born in August. So this guy's whole thing is that he feels like that Kevin Hart wanted to take blame off of himself for cheating on his wife during his wife's birthday weekend, that he fabricated some shit that people set him up, but he wasn't set up. Now, I don't know the truth, but all the charges were dropped, right? So I'm telling you how all the charges were dropped. So one, the chain of custody of the email demanded money or demanding the Bitcoin, it was not handled right. And then when they tried to get it, Kevin couldn't really like produce it, which that's kind of odd, but whatever. Anyway, it says, listen to this. So after returning from the trip, Kevin Hart was contacted regarding a video recorded and purportedly made during the trip. Subsequently, Jackson was charged with crimes related to the video. Okay, right? So, all right, bet. Without any admission of guilt or whatever, Kevin Hart and Jackson desired to compromise and settle. So they're making a settlement, right? Here's the settlement consideration, okay? By Hart to Jackson. So this is what Kevin Hart has to do. Within 30 days, the following execution delivery of this agreement. So basically, the guy goes to Kevin Hart and says, you are a megastar. You've told everybody that your friend has extorted you. I can't get no jobs. The industry don't want to work with me no more. I could sue you for a lot of money, but I'm not going to sue you for money. If you clear my name, I'm good. So the guy wanted Kevin Hart to clear his name. Kevin Hart signs an agreement to say, I'm going to clear your name. This is the agreement we're reading, right? Look, in addition, okay, so they don't want to continue criminal prosecution. In addition, Kevin Hart, through his counsel, shall advocate for the dismissal. So Kevin Hart told the DA, they made the case to the DA, and then Kevin Hart himself went to the DA and said, hey, yo, cancel that case. He ain't doing it, right? In addition, within 30 days, following the dismissal of the charges, Kevin Hart shall post a video on his Instagram account and leave the video posted for 24 hours with him stating the following verbiage. The last 3 years of my life, definitely has seen, it shares the ups and downs. And it put me in a position where I've dealt with the legal matter I can't speak about or talk about because it was just undefined and there was a high level of unknown, and I'm happy now I can speak on it. Incident that cost me a very, very valuable friendship. I lost someone that was close to me, I love, and still have a lot of much love for, or high levels of love, blah, blah. And I'm proud to say that all the charges against JT Jackson have been dropped, and he is not guilty and had nothing to do with it. And this matter at hand that was once so tough to deal with and so heavy for me and my household is now put to bed. They said Kevin Hart agrees to make the video publicly shared on his Instagram for 24 hours to his 150 million followers. He was supposed to post it during business hours during this time, whatever. And then this was what Jackson had to do for Hart. He was never to speak on this publicly again, right? So if all the criminal charges are dismissed, so this is after, so Kevin Hart had to apologize or clear it up, saying this guy didn't do nothing, and tell the DA to drop the charges. And the other guy was gonna say, all right, here we go. He says he was not gonna file any claims going forward, including civil actions against Heartbeat, the state of California, because you remember that's the DA, or Kevin Hart. And he won't ever disclose details of the trip or any other personal details in any type of public medium, public audience, media, print, whatever. Okay. Don't want to bore you guys with too much, okay? So essentially, this guy can't ever sue, okay? Perfect. Now, what ends up happening, and again, 1 in the chat if you know all this, 0 if you don't. What ends up happening is, bring it up. All right, give me 1 second. Okay. Video about, this is how the video looked too. Yeah, look at this. Now, by the way, what's now coming out, and this was never supposed to come out, but there's new updates from it. Essentially, Kevin Hart, he did a deposition, so he was even talking about how the sex tape even came to light, and he even described how he knew he was being recorded. So somebody set up a sex, like a camera in the room. Here we go. Is it this? No, it's this right here, I think. I'll never sue you, and I won't talk about it. But what you got to do is clear my name and tell the DA drop the charges. Kevin Hart tells the DA drop the charges get dropped. Kevin Hart makes a video, but it's not the video that the guy wants him to make. He makes a video saying, yo, bro, I wish I could find the video. It's a video with him in a car, and he's like, yo, like he kind of said some of the same words, but he said the guy has been found not guilty, as opposed to the charges got dropped. They never went to trial, right? Now, again, I could pull this up because this has more of what this guy was saying. This is his declaration in this new lawsuit. By the way, we would have never known about this agreement if Kevin Hart did the video correctly. He said, my sole purpose in signing this agreement to finally clear my name from false accusation made by the Hart and perpetually Heartbeat Productions. By the way, Heartbeat Productions made a it was a documentary on Kevin. Don't